Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to explore 5 grand movie palaces and one other. These are the 5 Super Deluxe Fox Theaters out of the 100 or so Fox Theaters I found on Wikipedia listed. These were the Super Deluxe version of them, the biggest and best. These were all built in the late 1920s. And I want us to get a sense of the opulence, the art, the creativity, the grandiosity, and just the pure beauty of these palaces. So sit back, relax, and let's take a trip back to the late 1920s. So here we have the Roxy Theater. It was the 5,920-seat movie palace just off of Times Square in New York City. It was the largest movie theater ever built at the time of its construction in 1927. It closed and was demolished in 1960. Ended up costing $12 million. So it featured a soaring golden Spanish-inspired auditorium, and its main lobby was a large columned rotunda called the Grand Foyer, which featured the world's largest oval rug manufactured by Mohawk Carpets in Amsterdam, New York, and its own separate pipe organ on the mezzanine. Off the rotunda was a long entrance lobby that led through the adjacent Manager Hotel to the theater's main entrance at the corner of 7th Avenue and West 50th Street. The hotel was built at the same time as the theater. The theater boasted lavish support facilities including 2 stories of private dressing rooms, 3 floors of chorus dressing rooms, huge rehearsal rooms, a costume department, staff dry cleaning and laundry rooms, a barber shop, a hairdresser, a dining room, a completely equipped infirmary, and a menagerie for show animals. There were also myriad offices, a private 100-seat screening room, and massive machine rooms for electrical, ventilation, and heating machinery. The theater's large staff also enjoyed a cafeteria, gymnasium, billiard room, nap room, library, and showers. The theater's stage innovations included a rising orchestra pit, which could accommodate 110 musicians, and a 3-console Kimball Theater pipe organ. The film projection booth was recessed in the front of the balcony to prevent film distortion caused by the usual angle projection from the top rear wall of the theater. This enabled the Roxy to have the sharpest film image for its time. So this place was magnificent. So sad it's destroyed. This was the Fox Theater in Brooklyn, New York. This grand motion picture theater stood at the corner of Flatbush Avenue and Nevin Street in Fort Greene from 1928 until it was demolished in 1971. It was one of the largest theaters ever built in the U.S., and its auditorium could seat 4,305 people. The design was a mishmash of Baroque, Art Deco, and East Indian architectural styles. It reportedly cost $10 million to build, a figure equivalent to over $140 million today. Reading from an article titled "The Opulent Splendor of Downtown Brooklyn's Lost Fox Theater." And what a theater it was. From the outside, the Brooklyn Fox looked like an office building with a marquee. There were offices inside, as well as the retail stores on the ground floor. But the inside of the theater was a different story. The style could only be called over-the-top eclectic. It was Baroque on steroids, combining elements of India and the East Indies with Baroque and Art Deco. Every surface of the theater was decorated, gilded, draped, carved, painted, polished, or plastered. The grand lobby rose 4 stories high with a massive staircase leading to the levels of the theater. The opulent restrooms laid downstairs, and passageways and smaller stairs brought patrons to the various parts of the theater. There are no elevators for the theater goers. Here is a short clip of the Detroit Fox Theater, which still stands today. It is Next, I'm going to show you the St. Louis Fox Theater, which also still stands today.
Fox as the place to go see the hottest shows on Broadway, shows like Les Mis, The Lion King, Hamilton, but that was not the case when Fox opened 90 years ago.
During 1910, 1915, the films were really not that much to get excited about. And so, if you could fill it up by making the theater fancy, that's what you did. And if you fill it up, what do? You make it bigger and fancier. And so by 1920, they were building motion picture palaces. They were copying the opera houses and palaces of Europe for the architecture.
As a movie house, it seated over 5,000 people, second only in size to the Roxy in New York City. While the Fox was able to get through the Great Depression, the movie palace's eventual decline was due to the soaring popularity of vehicle ownership.
It was after the war years that the problem started. There were 7 other theaters around here. What there was not was parking. This is a reproduction of the original carpeting that was in here. And the elephants, wherever you go, are facing toward the stage.
So what do the performers say about this theater when they come to perform?
Oh, they love it. It's the fanciest place, and it's the largest place that they work.
While you see the stage from this angle, this is how the performers see you.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? I've never seen it from this angle.
If you've been to the Fox, you see the stage, but have you looked up at the incredible chandelier?
The chandelier is 13 feet in diameter, weighs over 2.5 tons, 5,280 pounds.
This is just one of the 8 rooms. There's 8 of these rooms. And of course, I'm just taking to the ones that are the easiest to get to. These are the various pipes that speak different instruments, trumpets, flutes, all different instruments. But if you want to see the percussion, we have to do this.
Filling a labyrinth of small rooms are drums, gongs, buzzers, even a Model A Ford Auga horn. So at the touch of a button, the mighty Wurlitzer can produce sound effects and music.
This is my favorite of them all. The Fox Theater in San Francisco. I'm reading some highlights from an article titled San Francisco's Fabulous Fox Theater. Was the largest movie palace west of St. Louis, a monument to opulence and glamour long gone. There weren't enough adjectives to describe the movie theater's magnificence. It drew crowds from the entire Bay Area with premiere movies and stage shows. A California destination, the theater was built in 1929 and lasted until 1963. The San Francisco Chronicle called the opening a spectacle of such beauty and magnitude that it seemed rather a fancy of one's mind rather than the inaugural night of another commercial enterprise. The vast auditorium was spread over an entire block, seating nearly 6,000 persons. Decorated in delicate gold and ivory shades and minus the unappealing gingerbread effects, common in theater construction, It was hailed as one of the artistic triumphs of theater construction. The comfort of patrons was the first thought of the builders, including luxurious restrooms, smoking rooms for both men and women, and special cosmetic rooms for the ladies. Spacious foyers abound, with the grand lobby extending across the entire front of the building. The grand lobby ended in the beautiful grand stairway, which is comparable to that of the famous Paris Opera House. Broad stairways approach every level, ascending easily to the topmost balcony promenade. From the grand lobby, 2 roomy passenger elevators ascend to the upper reaches of the balcony. The stage upon which a battalion of soldiers could be massed is equipped with every modern device known to stagecraft. Almost the entire stage platform is an elevator that can be raised and lowered at will. The floor of the orchestra pit and the organ consoles are also on elevators. There are 3 organ consoles in the new Fox. One is on the stage, another in the pit, and third in the lobby with its console on the mezzanine floor. The last mentioned organ will be used to entertain patrons who are waiting for seats. This place was just incredible. On March 1st, 1963, it came down to be replaced by a dull office and apartment complex. Sad. And finally, we have the Atlanta Fox Theater, originally planned as a part of the large shrine temple, as evidenced by its Moorish design. The 4,665-seat auditorium was ultimately developed as a lavish movie theater in the Fox Theaters chain, opened in 1929. Still stands today. When the Fox Theater first opened, the local newspaper described it as having a picturesque and almost disturbing grandeur beyond imagination. It remains a showplace that impresses theater goers to this day. And 2 architectural styles: Islamic architecture and Egyptian architecture. Here's a clip coming up.
The Fox Theater is one of the world's most famous venues for film and the performing arts. It was described when it opened in the 1920s as an outlandish, opulent, and grandiose monument to excess. The Atlanta Journal description was kinder as a picturesque and almost disturbing grandeur beyond imagination. A mosque-like structure complete with minarets, onion domes, and interior decor of Egyptian grandeur, it seated 4,000 people. The interior, restored lovingly by the people of Atlanta, is a masterpiece, complete with an indoor Arabian court. It has a sky of flickering stars, spectacular striped canopy overhanging the balconies. The Fox reigns today as a fiercely protected landmark and internationally acclaimed theater, celebrating more than half a century of film and theatrical productions. From summer film festival to Broadway shows, the Fox still generates millions of dollars to the Atlanta economy. You can tour the Fox on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 10 a.m. and Saturdays at 10 and 11 a.m.